People think water erases. Truth is, water remembers in layers. Our reservoir fell 12 feet this summer, pulling back like a tide that changed its mind. Old Main Street showed its ribs, a row of foundations, a church step, a rusted barber pole nobody asked for. And at the far end, slumped crooked in a trench of silt, the town library. The county wants it inventoried fast. Grab what matters, tag the rest, get out before storms return and drown this chapter all over again. They hired one archivist for the night shift, me. I brought battery lamps, a portable dehumidifier, a hand pump, nitrile gloves, a notebook I'll end up writing in like a confession, and a brass key they found in a desk up on the dam. The tag on it says ADA in stamped letters. There's a bell on a string tied to the same ring. They told me it was a joke. Ring if the ghosts won't hush. People are funny until midnight. I park on cracked lake bed as the last daylight drains out, the air warm with algae and old wood. The library sits 50 yards ahead, half buried to the windowsills, a wet line along its bricks, like a ring on a bathtub. I tell myself it's just a building. Buildings don't look back.
First rule on a site like this, don't trust floors. Second, don't make promises to the dark. I string lamps from the SUV to the doorway, light pooling like islands across mud. The front steps have slumped. I walk a plank across silt that sighs under my weight. The carved lintel still reads Eden Public Library, as if Eden hadn't been paved and flooded to make a lake. The brass key turns with a soft, wet cough. The door gives an inch, sticks hard, gives another. A sheet of lake smell hits. Old paper, mold, iron, something green and patient. My headlamp cuts into a lobby of warped wood and fallen plaster. The circulation desk leans like it's had a stroke. Someone long ago taped a sign to the front, "Silence, please." The edge is peeled, the S trying to swim away. There's a bell on the desk, twin to mine, but older. I don't touch it. My boots leave prints in fine gray silt across tile that once had a pattern. The catalog drawers gape like teeth. I can taste the lake on my tongue, metallic, mossy, faintly sweet. Behind me, the night leans in, listening. I start the dehumidifier for form's sake. Its little fan buzzes like a brave insect. Somewhere deeper, a single drop falls, then another, then stops. Like the building caught itself making noise. I haul a box onto the desk, pop a drawer, and slide a soggy stack of cards into my palm. Ink ran, but not far enough. Titles wobble themselves into legibility. Birds of the Ridge, The Old Road to Eden Springs, Miss Ada's Story Hour. The circulation stamps end July 1961, the month they flooded the valley. Then, deeper in the stack, newer impressions. June 05, 2003, October 17, 2019. That can't be right. I hold them to the lamp. The newer ink is paler, like it never really dried. I log anomalies because numbers never feel lonely. Post 1961 dates, possible prank or bleed through. The pen scratches too loud. My light picks up a faint, wet shoe print beside mine. Not fresh, a little ash around the edges. Smaller than my boot.
The direction points inward, toward the stacks. I look back at the doorway to mark wind patterns like a sane person. The night outside isn't moving. The lake has no waves to fake this. On the desk, the bell quivers like an insect. My lamp flickers. I say out loud, "We're not ringing anything." My voice comes back thinner, as if it was water and the room drank it. I pocket the county's bell without meaning to, the way you tuck a lucky coin. I find the kids' room by smell. Old glue, felt, crayons that died midsummer and left their waxy ghosts. A mural wraps the wall. Painted fish, a blue heron stepping into reeds, a boy holding a book bigger than his chest. Water rose to the boy's eyes and stopped. You can see the flood line right there, a stripe of silt like a horizon. Rubber-tipped chairs ring a circle rug, the kind with letters around the edge. My lamp throws my shadow across the alphabet. It ripples like a thing underwater, which it isn't. There's a low shelf for picture books, spines furry with mold. I slide one out. Night Boat. It leaves a clean rectangle behind and a whisper like paper exhaling. Inside the front cover, the pocket and card. Stamped Jewel 10, 1961. Due Jewel 24, 1961. A signature in careful pencil. E.P. I don't know why that makes my chest feel tight. I slide the book back. The slot resists, then accepts it the way a pond accepts a pebble. At the far wall, a corkboard curls forward with the weight of old notices. Under a brittle flyer for Story Hour, there's a Polaroid pinned with rusted tacks. Kids on the rug, a woman in a cardigan, a bell on the table. The date written in blue ballpoint, 7/7/61. The bell in her hand looks like mine.
I don't ring it. It rings itself, soft, once. A neat little silver syllable that walks up my spine. I can feel the desk's twin vibrating in my pocket in sympathy, quiet as a held breath. I don't move. I've seen pipes ping and radiators bear grudges and old brass remember hands. This isn't that. The sound is clean and nowhere. Wind, I say. The air doesn't argue. A paperback somewhere curls and settles. I take 3 photos in a row of the desk bell to lie to myself later. The last photo blurs as if my hand shook, which it did not. Fine, I'm tired. The county pays for a night. This will be one. The shoe prints deepen at the edge, a little more ash kicked forward toward the adult stacks, 300s, 400s, an aisle labeled Local History. The signs are lettered by hand, neat, hopeful. I take the aisle. The lights make a tunnel of pale. My boots leave commas in the silt. I count steps, not superstition, a habit from flood basements. 12, 13, 14. The catalog numbers go strange. A run labeled 398.0 9.2, Folktales, reappears under a shelf labeled Eden, and the titles are wrong. The House That Learned to Breathe, Our Lake That Was an Eye, How to Swim Without Water. I touch nothing. I keep walking, because pretending you're just passing through is a kind of spell.
The archive room is half a flight down, door swollen in its jamb like a lip bitten too hard. I shoulder it until it gives. The air is colder, metallic, a little like blood and pennies. My lamp catches drawers stenciled newspaper, council minutes, school annuals. Against the far wall, a microfiche reader with a cracked lid and a hum I didn't plug in. The SUV on the generator is a long orange coil away. I haven't connected this room. Absolutely not, I tell it, which is also a kind of prayer. I sit. I feed a sheet marked Eden Gazette, Jull 1961, and scroll. Birth announcements, classifieds offering 2 hens and a push mower, a piece on the dam dedication, all as advertised. Then the screen jumps to Tonight in block letters, and it's my face reflected faintly in the plexiglass. I move. The reflection doesn't. It's sitting still, just like me, only its mouth is open like it's reading. The headline below it renders slow like develop out photo paper. Archivist spends 1 night in library, returns nothing but water. I hit power out of muscle memory. A hush descends like a soft cloth. The room holds it. I back away. The stair up looks steeper than down. I take it anyway.
Back in local history, the shelves have drifted, not moved, drifted. The aisles don't run straight anymore, where you'd expect fire codes and plat maps. There's a run of yearbooks washed pale. I pull 1/2 an inch and stop. On the spine, Eden High 1960-61. On the back jacket, a smudge, like a thumbprint. I open to a random spread and land on clubs. The reading circle sits in black and white. 6 kids, a woman in a cardigan, that bell on the table. Names printed underneath: Eliza Price, Danny Shore, and a few more. Last line, Ada Kerner, librarian. The paper smells like lilac soap, dust, lake. At the bottom margin, someone penciled a note: ring twice to call, 3 to keep. The handwriting is tidy, old-fashioned, the kind that makes you trust lists. I close the book soft and push it home. The shelf resists, then takes it. I'm careful not to jar the bell in my pocket. The floor sighs under me. A tiny wavelet the width of a hand runs across the silt, like a mouse under a blanket. It stops at my boot and breaks around it. When it recedes, there are 2 shoe prints beside mine, barefoot, smaller than mine by half, pointing the other way, toward the lobby. Silence, please. The stair that runs to the mezzanine is roped off with mildew fuzz. I test the tread with a heel. The risers are damp but solid enough. Halfway up, there's a sharp line on the wall. You could level a shelf with it, where water rested for a long time. The paint above has flaked in curls. Below, it's smoother, almost polished by the patience of months. I run my gloved finger across and get a stripe. Lake on one side, air on the other. Up top, the reference desk sits like a grounded boat. A dictionary the size of a suitcase sprawls open, pages bowed like a chest. I flip it. The onion skin crinkles. Every definition I land on feels wrong in the mouth. Drown, to be immersed and altered. Return, to come back changed. Keep, to hold beyond the due date. I shut it on my glove and bring my hand away quick, like I got caught taking something. Outside the windows, no glass now, just holes. The dark has lowered. The lake bed is a matte plain, lamp pools like islands, my SUV a toy with breath. Somewhere past the far ridge, lightning flashes behind the hills without thunder. The library smells a little greener, like stems. At the circulation desk, the big ledger, cloth spine, leather corners patched with black tape, lies shut with dignity. The string of the desk bell crosses it like a lazy leash. I flip the cover. The paper is cotton rag, thick enough to bite. Lines rule each column. Name, card number, date out, date due, returned. The last page with ink is the week of July 10, 1961. 7 tidy names. Ada K's initials in the margin. Then, ghosted beneath, a paler hand like writing left out in weather. Santos, M. Temp card. Tonight. Due before rain. My mouth goes sand dry. I didn't sign this book, county paperwork or not. I did not tell the ledger my name. I rest the pen in the gutter and watch it roll to the returned column as if the table leans. The bell string slides a fraction, metal kissing metal. I put my palm over the bell without thinking. It hums faintly like a throat before a song. The half-flight down to archives breathes cool air now, like a cave. I should not go back after the microfiche stunt. The fact that I go is proof that rules are strongest right before you break them. In the dark, the hum is louder, an electrical beat that isn't coming from a cord. The microfiche reader glows all on its own, screen lit a dull aquarium blue. I don't sit this time. I stand in the doorway and watch the page flicker like heat. It resolves to a list, evacuation roster in caps, names lit soft as minnows. At the bottom, a scrawl in pencil, new by the way the graphite shines. Bring back what you borrowed. We're short on time. Water drops on my shoulder. The ceiling above sweats along a seam.
The drop that hits the floor doesn't spread. It stands perfectly domed, then slides toward the fiche reader uphill like a bead on glass. The reader hums happier. I back up the steps. The room exhales, a long, patient release, like someone ending a story.
In maps, flat files hold county surveys and the kind of charts 21st century phones made obsolete. The drawers stick, then come gentle when I ask nice with my fingers. Paper likes manners. I roll out an Eden 1959 plat. Streets and lot lines crisp as good salt. The library's footprint sits square at Elm and 2nd. Penciled notes mark a new dam road on the ridge. I layer a Reservoir 1970 transparency over top. The library disappears under blue film, a little X out in the water. I lift the overlay to photograph the old map and stop. The library footprint on the 1959 sheet has shifted half a block left. I recheck the legend. No misprint. When I put the overlay back, the X in the water sits directly on the new position. The maps agree with each other, not with themselves. A small breeze moves through the room without an open window. It smells like damp wool and cardamom. Paper corners lift and settle. The top sheet in another drawer slides out an inch as if offering itself. On its back, someone doodled a bell.
The community room has a pull-down screen stained in a perfect circle like a slow eclipse. An 8mm projector sits on a cart with the smugness of a machine that knows it will outlast the people who roll it. I don't carry film. The county didn't give me that. But when I lift the projector's cover, a reel waits on the spindle. Someone tagged it in penciled librarian capitals, Eden Days, Summer 61. I thread it because of course I do. The machine coughs, sputters, catches a rhythm. Kids run across Maine, chasing a dog that hates the camera. A ribbon cutting at the dam, ladies in gloves, the mayor with a grin too wide. Then the library, pacing shots of stacks, the children's room, the bell on the table. Miss Ada steps into frame, turns her face toward us, toward me, and raises a finger like one. She rings once, the film jumps. The room goes colder, sharply, like someone opened a freezer door in my chest. She rings again, 2. The projector hiccups as if it swallowed. Everyone on the screen looks left, the way you look when someone enters. The bell in my pocket hums louder against my thigh. I pause the film with a whine. The image freezes, Ada's hand hovering over the bell for a third. We hold there together. I unplug the projector, like it owes me an apology.
Near the front doors is the steel mouth where books go at night. The chute angles down into a bin, presently full of wet nothing. Above the slot, a painted sign request in friendly font. Drop here, we'll get them in the morning. The morning never came. I kneel. The metal is colder than the room. Something inside knocks. Not loud, a shy, awkward bump, like a child pushing a jar the wrong way. I tip the bin. Water darker than water sloshes. A shape clinks against the side. I reach in with a gloved hand and bring out a small stack of objects that do not belong in any library. A button, a cork, a brass house key on green twine, a fishhook rusted to a tear, 3 dried seed pods like tiny bells, and a library card with the name Eliza Price in pencil. Due date, July 24, 1961. Book, Night Boat. My light shivers. Out in the stacks, something breathes soft through its teeth. I set the card on the desk and tell my pulse to behave in public. The bell string on the desk claws a fraction toward the edge like a cat deciding about gravity.
When drywall holds water long enough, it learns, then can't unlearn. The walls in reference bulge like lungs. I put my hand on paint, cool and clammy as the underside of a bridge, and feel a heartbeat that isn't mine. The lamps comfort no one. Shadows pool in corners where corners used to be square. I back into a shelf and apologize out loud, because the apology reflex keeps you human. From the stairwell comes a sound like a person taking a step and thinking better of it. The dust at the base eddies as if to agree. I lay my notebook open on the reference desk and write, "If the water is memory, the library is a mouth." The sentence looks like someone else's, which is a relief. My pen leaves a wet trail behind its line. When I lift my hand, the script continues a word and a half without me. I put the bell on top of the page like a period.
On a sidewall between periodicals and biography, a display case holds laminated notices. Fire escape map, shelter in place, emergency phone tree. One sheet is older, typed on a ribbon that went thin in the middle. Library rules. The small print reminds me to be kind to books, to others, to time. Someone annotated in pencil down the right margin. Ring once to ask. Ring twice to return. Ring thrice to keep. After midnight, you must check out yourself. Morning is a due date, not a promise. A rusted pushpin holds a child's drawing over the bottom of the rules. In crayon, a blue oval, lake, a red rectangle, library, a yellow circle crossed out with X, the name in the corner, Eliza. The wax looks soft as if it never fully set. I touch the edge.
My glove comes away faintly yellow.
When a book's been submerged, its pages dry with a memory of the water it drank. Swellings and valleys, finger waves. I pulled one from local oral history. The cloth cover stuck to the neighbor, and wait for it to let go. Inside, onion skin pages typed by a kind volunteer. On evacuation day, reads one entry. Miss Ada rang the bell twice at noon. The kids lined up by the rug like always. We all went quiet. She said we had time for one more story. The next page sticks hard. I ease it with a palette knife from my kit, the way you ease open an eye. It comes free. In the gutter, something glints, not mica, not foil, a flake of mirror. I angle my light. It shows the children's room as I saw it an hour ago. Then it shows the same room, full of water to the ceiling, chairs floating like lily pads, the bell rope vertical and straight. I close the book like I made a loud noise in a church. Somewhere below, the microfiche hums its approval like a refrigerator, content with its choices.
In cataloging, a shoebox holds index cards no one had time to file. The top card carries a heading, Policies Temporary. The first line is in Ada's tidy hand. If you read to them, they will wait. Under it, if you ring twice, they will listen. Under that, if you ring 3, they will stay. A last sentence sits alone in the wobble of someone writing with wet sleeves. Don't leave the bell where a child can find it. The period gouged deeper than the rest, as if the pen hit a thought and didn't like the taste. On the box bottom, a doodle like a map. 3 concentric ovals, and X at the center. A dotted line from the outer ring to the X. ADA written small at the corner. The bell in my pocket remembers my hand and presses against it, as if reminding me it exists. Outside, rain starts somewhere far off. Not here, a sound like it. The lights shrug. The building grows wetter without weather. My lamp halos look the same, but the air tastes more lake than air. Drops bead on the end of "Silence, please" sign and slide off slow as thought. A table near the door has a puddle that reflects nothing in the room. At the puddle's bottom, a sentence scrolls itself backward. Dew before rain. My phone, useless for signal, vibrates once in the quiet anyway. The lock screen shows the time wrong by 20 minutes and a notification that only says return. When I lift the phone to take a photo, the camera renders a brighter library than mine. Sun through windows, dust in shafts, a child at the desk in braids like rain, her fingers on the bell rope with the candor of 8 years old. I lower the phone. She is not there. I lift it. She is. The bell rope is taut in both versions. I pocket the phone and feel like I swallowed a coin.
Night soaks down to the floor. I can hear the reservoir breathing beyond the berm, a lake that thinks about being a town again. I stand in the children's circle and pick up Night Boat because it's the only book here that feels like an answer. The rug smells like felt and the backs of small knees. I read into the room like there's someone in it, because there is. My voice comes back warmer, rounder, as if held in the crook of a mother's arm. When I say the boat waits where the moon says to, the bell on the desk gives a little consenting sound that is not a ring and is absolutely a ring. The air steadies, the puddles on the tables still. In the doorway to local history, water climbs the jam as if measured in minutes rather than inches. It hangs there like a patient. I keep reading. The last page sticks. I don't force it. I tell them the end without looking, that the boat goes where boats go, and you put your hand in the water, and the water puts its hand in yours, and you both remember. The room nods without moving. There are choices that are really doors. There are doors that are bells. I take the desk bell in both hands, the way you take the head of a sleeping child, and I ring it once, a clear, small now. The sound runs down the stacks and into the stairwell, into the fiche room, out through map drawers, smooth as a key into a long-used lock. The puddles shiver, the shoe prints fill, the silence sign stops dripping. I ring it again. Now shifts to go. The microfiche sighs. The ledger's returned column reads itself full in tidy graphite. Birds of the Ridge, Nightboat, Eden Gazette, July, Eden High, 6061. Names I didn't write. The card with Eliza Price floats up
off the desk an inch, then slides into the return slot, slow and deliberate, like a magic trick that refuses to be hurried. The bell rope on the wall by the children's rug is very still. My hand wants a third ring, like lungs want air. The map in my head of what 3 means tells me no. Outside, the night pulls one long breath, and the far hills let go a faint first rain that hasn't reached us yet.
I pack what the counties said they wanted, and what the library would let me take. The ledger, it weighs like an oath. Ada's policy card box. The yearbook with the reading circle and Ada's ring rules. 3 maps that won't agree with themselves, and the night boat I didn't finish out loud. The rest I lay out to dry in the warped daylight of my lamps, pages tinted just enough to remember they were trees. At the door, I look back. The puddle on the table that reflected other rooms now reflects this one, honestly, with my lamps and my foolish face. The bell on the desk is quiet as a held breath. The children's rug holds its circle unbroken. The local history shelves have straightened into sense like someone smoothed a wrinkled bed. I step out onto the plank. The lake bed smells like stone and new rain. Up on the ridge, headlights sweep. County trucks coming to do the thing they planned all along. In my pocket, the bell I didn't ring a 3rd time warms like a coin someone loved. In the ledger under my arm, the last line, in Ada's tidy hand or mine, I can't tell which, returned before rain. When the first drops hit, big and few, the library exhales, the lake remembers the rest.